Okay, this is a very difficult topic to talk about, but we're going to talk about the body. All right, this is the fourth episode out of 25, and this is the council member in question, which is different from the third episode because we switched to Justin Bieber and just dedicated the rest to him. It's twisted and weird, but I spiced it up with talking about Mr. Beast, as he's in a middle of this whole equation, surrounded by ring of fire. Will Mr. Beast break or not? Will he accept his downfall because it's happening? He will definitely not be able to just follow other people's advice and make the best videos on YouTube as possible. That's just impossible because he seems to, waste a lot of money for mediocre type of content, and the only thing that gives him notoriety is the amount of views and subscribers he has. Nothing else gives him leadership quite like numbers, which is something very questionable, I would say. Something I would question as YouTube CEO is like, do numbers actually matter, or the positivity of influence itself? So now Mr. Beast is being challenged by other narcissists to prove his worth to the platform. Am I going to be impressed, or am I going to be disappointed instead? We had PewDiePie, Reign of Power, and they kind of like shook hands and switched to Mr. Beast. All right, at 2020, we had the PewDiePie versus T-Series going on, and eventually they crossed out. PewDiePie retired, and Mr. Beast started picking up steam. And at that point, I subscribed to him because he was like promoting PewDiePie's effort to stay in power. But that was a very interesting thing. This is still a question mark, like what exactly happened. But the rise of power of PewDiePie was of like scaring people, of like, YouTube can be scary, guys. Look how scary these pixels are, or these concepts. And it eventually turned into memes. And memes are also kind of scary because they leave a very big imprint into your life. And essentially he tried to like make it more appealing and funny in a way, and shit in the shower, which was indication that he probably has to retire now if he talks about shitting in the shower. Yeah, it's about time to leave the spotlight and give it to someone else. So, very interesting transition. Of course, it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't want to be the 3, the G, alright? PBG, boys. PBGs we're gonna have. I want to be the very best. All right, I'm the earth element. It's kind of like appropriate winds, fire, earth. I think I have what it takes. I have all the resources, all the specs, basically. And we're going to spectate, while I'm down here, we're going to spectate the fall of Mr. Beast. Because I can predict that. I can see that right now. Doesn't mean it's bad. He just has to accept it. He has to understand that numbers are not the end of everything that YouTube has to offer. You can give the shock value, you can excite people about money and prestige that you can get from YouTube, notoriety, whatever. But eventually you have to understand what influence means and how to truly influence people so you can liberate them from terrible lifestyles, or just improve their lifestyles steadily instead of dumping money onto them, which is not actually a very good idea. The best way to give money to people is to give them for their efforts, and if they show extraordinary talents, then you reward them extraordinary money. 10,000 is extraordinary. And you can't just dump it randomly onto people just to see how they're going to react. It's not going to be that interesting. It's like a celebrity showing up randomly to a random person. You're not going to get a very interesting reaction because you're just kind of exploiting unsuspecting victims in a way, squeezing them of reactions that are unnatural anyways and don't actually feed into the story of any kind. So what Mr. Beast does often enough is, commit sins that he feels is still a high self-esteem because it's an experience for everyone to watch. He translates his experience in many different languages, and he invites everyone to watch. Does that mean we're now connected by Mr. Beast? Well, he's trying to do that, but every other channel is just going to learn from him and be able to catch up. So he has to constantly innovate as well. But funny enough, like, Mr. Beast and I share the same sentiment of, like, why is no one chasing Mr. Beast's style of, presenting their content? But everyone needs a different form of advice. Everyone needs, like, a very, very personal advice, which is why I feel like I'm rising in power and I will rise exponentially simply because right now I live under 50 times more pressure than an average American. You have no idea how bleak the world of Europe actually looks like unless you travel there. Because you have to learn a completely kind of archaic language that I didn't want it to speak. Like, English is more appropriate because it's a lot faster and it has very functional words. Lithuanian, bro, it has some functionality, don't get me wrong. It would be nice to combine these languages together a little bit, or rather upgrade English with some Lithuanian tricks, where we don't, whatever we say in Lithuanian, we can actually write it down very easily. There's no silent letters, nothing tricky about this language. It's very fascinating to me, especially when English has these double letters, which are very difficult to type. It's when it comes to keyboards, double letters the worst words. So when you have three, we have this trees, boys. There's some weird things about the Lithuanian language, and the language itself is just disgusting, but it has a few tricks, and I'm sure other European languages have tricks too. It's just I don't have to learn them. I just have to learn something way better than more European bullshit, because I had enough of that, and I live in a terrible place anyways. So I live under 50 times more pressure. So whenever I get a subscriber, I actually got 50 subscribers. Thank you very much. All right, I got more subscribers than you can calculate with your naked eyes, because you don't understand how difficult it is for me to make YouTube videos. It's a fucking miracle that I have enough, money flowing around, that my mom allows me full freedom. All these things are fucking miracles around me that I have to appreciate and take full gratitude upon. And, I get to be teased of, like, Mr. Beast is younger than me. He just figured everything out. But he has a lot of friends. He has a lot of support. That's his downside, by the way. That's going to be his downside of, like, how he's going to cut. He will have to cut off a lot of support because it feeds him terrible ideas. When I build ideas, I build them in my own way. In the way that I fully test them, they have to fully work. And we're going to talk about body, basically. And the thing in the middle of exercise and hygiene, which is what body represents, there's also, combat, which is extreme exercise. Is there extreme hygiene? Technically, extreme hygiene is sleeping. Yeah, you just clean up your mind entirely and prepare yourself for a new day. But in the middle, there's something called body odor, which is pretty nasty for most people. I don't care, though. Sometimes I say body odor, but I have to stop doing that. Body odor. And some people say BO, and that is not good. It's not good to shorten things when it just rips off the meaning of a very, very meaningful word. So don't do that. Don't call it BO. Because, well, it also translates into fear. Lithuanian, I fear, which is not something you want to do. In case I am the third one, you know, in terms of carrying the flag of YouTube and taking responsibilities, you know, becoming the president in a way, self-elected, because that's how you have to do. You have to prove, well, technically, like YouTube has like a natural selection process, right? And people will start questioning of like, who's going to be the next big dude after Mr. Beast, because he's going to commit a downfall. He's going to have to submit to the fact that as he's trying to improve himself, he will have to downgrade his content. He will have to spend more time with himself in order to improve relationships, in order to improve your behavior and your attitude. You have to spend a lot of time meditating on yourself, improving skills and observing things and diving into memories. These are like ridiculous things. And on top of that, as I discovered spirituality, that is next level of the amount of meditation and a lot of stress basically out of nowhere that you have to like battle with. Like, holy crap. The moment Mr. Beast discovers these things, he will not be able to fucking move and operate properly and release videos that are already difficult to make anyways. Like, you can already sense Mr. Beast can potentially break much faster and just fall down fucking on my arms, and I will not know what to do, how to fill in the empty space. Someone else will have to do it. And so I'm creating Ring of Fire. In case Mr. Beast falls down, people are gonna try and save him. So, you know, he's like very high up here right now, and if he falls down, someone has to, you know, catch him. Someone has to help the potential victim of the dangers of, you know, popularity and whatnot. But we all have faith at the same time. It should be pretty smooth, right? Normally. We just have to be, you know, proofed up from bad things happening. So, by the way, this pretty big pee-pee in here. Are you ready to dive into a little bit of a conspiracy way of talking about body odor? Because I had to deal with that shit for so long. And I figure out some very interesting things about it. And I know YouTube hates conspiracy theory type of things, but I have to live with that experience and compile it. And I'm basically a leader of my own life. Nobody tells me anything. Nobody even wants to tell me anything useful. Nobody talks why they do things, why they shower. And I'm going to explain all these things because we'll need some context, potentially. I'm not sure where this video, how far we're going to go with this video because I have to cover a lot of ground right now. This is my third attempt of doing this, if not fourth. But basically, I had this problem, right? I had to deal with this problem, and I'm like lazy. I don't want to shower. But then, most recently, I'm like realizing, shit, I have to shower, so I stop being distracted and I can just jump in, splash some water, but I also have to prepare myself, you know, soapy water. Invented soapy water, where I just grind a little bit of soap, create soapy water, use a sponge, apply it. So it's like cheap, super simple and effective, because soap is like more effective than just buying grocery store soapy water, which is still pretty much the same thing anyways. So it's super simple, cheap, effective, seems like. But I still struggle to comprehend how to do this efficiently. Because what I want is efficiency. I don't want to just follow NPC rules and try to look as clean as possible, try to look as attractive as possible, in hopes that I will get something in return for doing that. Like, sure, I mean, I could do that and be an NPC, but then I will lose my integrity. And I don't have that much self-esteem to spend anyways. Most people are being brought by like really aggressive and terrifying parents. My mom is just like quiet in her room, fucking farting around, doing barely nothing. Right now I just gave her to fucking scroll through TikTok endlessly. But not really. TikTok, it's worse. It's worse, guys. It's Instagram Reels that she shows to master. So I can't even like check her algorithm in a way. But it would disrupt my algorithm, so I guess that's fine. Anyways, because alright, whatever. So in terms of body odor, it gets really fucking weird. Because when you have this like offensive smell spread out, and people start disliking you for it, and crafting bad intentions and try to fucking dislike you in a way, like it makes you uncomfortable. But like, how do you break through that sort of ice, right? Like, what if a person you don't like? But at the same time, like, there's a lot of broken, drunk, smoking people, and people even use perfume, which is also a broken thing to do. Women use perfume, I would imagine, in order to get attention. It's a terrifying way to get attention. It's like an unoffensive body odor. All right, spraying yourself with perfume, like, because it smells like shit, bro. It's annoying, and again, it takes your attention away. So it's like, oh, well, that's an extra annoying. It smells bad and it takes your attention, so you think about that person. You have to really know when you do things, so you don't do things because everyone else does it. You have to do things because it's important to you, and you know exactly what consequences it causes. I'm okay getting negative attention because you must not bother dead people. I'm basically half dead, living in dead space, kind of like in a Truman Show, where because I'm a leader of my own life, I have to make up my own mind and discover spiritual ways to analyze reality. Is like so disturbingly complicated, but I'm somehow able to handle it because, you know, I don't drink, don't smoke. I use every single second of my life trying to appreciate every feeling that I receive. And right now in summertime, I have to stack my self-esteem and all the things that I'm doing to make sure that it doesn't burn out or burn up because of the heat of summer. The heat of summer is goddamn disturbing. All right. Again, you have to appreciate the 50 times more pressure that I have to deal with because I'm left alone. I'm not sure why people don't want to talk to me, why I'm just naturally offensive. Why they holding a high ground with their self-esteem? It's like, oh, we're all equal here, guys. I have a body, you have a body, and that's all that matters. I can beat you up physically or whatever. It's like, is this how we fucking argue? Because over the internet, it feels like that's all people care about, is just the power level, right? Can you press the button to ban me from Discord? Oh, you can't. And this is where all this mentality about, you know, Discord moderators come to place of like, oh, Discord moderators can kick my ass over the internet. No, bro. You can get kicked. You will get your ass kicked by me without any need of buttons or anything. All right? You get kicked as by effort alone. All right? Or just motivation. Anyone can get their ass kicked as long as we don't have to like follow rules of how to kick your ass. I'll find a way, bro. No problem. To disrupt your life. But you know, it's a weird mentality that people have, like holding on to their self-esteem when they can't even have conversations right now. And so when I go outside, I know no one is gonna start a conversation with me. But a weird thing happened. I go to shop in my local fucking place, and there's the cashier, the nasty one. You know, there's always the fucking angry, upset one. And then there's fucking bully type of person, right? Just having a conversation, but then I get stacked in the middle into this sandwich, and they just fucking play around with me and my self-esteem. And then, you know, they put me in a miserable spot where I have to just unleash more body odor than normal. I already had a walk across blog. It's already, you know, fairly hot at summer, even though it's I came out to walk around outside at somewhat early morning, and yet there's still idiots apparently organizing themselves a sandwich for an experience. I hope they enjoyed it, but if they have criticism over me, if they feel like they have learned something about me, like, you gotta be fucking shitting me, bro. You gotta be shitting me. If you think I lost reputation by smelling, you don't understand what body odor stands for. All right? Body odor is technically your body's way of telling that I'm afraid. I am afraid. Please don't do anything stupid to me. Please don't fucking push me around. I'm afraid. You're gonna consume my death, basically. It's literally your body dying, decomposing, and spreading that to everyone around you. And this is why you need to shower to just calm your body down, to make sure your skin breathes properly. You have to take off your clothes. This is happening just to cool down. So this stops. You can remove bacteria if you want, if you don't want that information to be available to you. But honestly, it's so much better if you learn how to be honest. It's very difficult, and people are predatory in a way, but you must not look at it as negative if you can handle the pressure. If you can handle the pressure, everything can be turned around into a positive side. You can always win battles, basically. So this thing, if you can manage not removing every single bacteria from your fucking skin, you will gain so much more spiritual information, and people will also, like, you will transact information between people. You won't even need to talk to them in a way, but you will send intentions, and whenever you're ready, you will receive, invitation to do something, to bump into each other or whatever, to have a more meaningful experience. So it's a thing. It's a really complicated thing. If you can, control the superpower, that's great. But what Americans try to do is just wash away. It's like, science told me that bacteria is bad, so we have to remove all of them. And you can do that, sure, but only when it's summertime. Funny enough, here's where the conspiracy starts. At COVID, the moment COVID actually is most effective is when it's not a lie anymore. Because COVID was meant to be a lie. Chinese people, they know how to lie, bro. They know how to stir shit up to the rest of the world. That's what they did. And the only time when it wasn't a lie, but people were allowed to not wear masks and all that shit, when it wasn't a lie, it was summertime. But that was exactly when you have to social distance, because it's just, people are just sweaty and they're just uncomfortable and all that shit. Yes, you go outside, you want to enjoy some sun, some sunlight, but you cannot consume too much sunlight because it's gonna mess with your fucking brain too. Sun is like deadly, bro. This is why I'm racist as well. It's deadly. If you spend too much time in sunlight, it's gonna mess you up. All right? yes, of course, people did that back in the day, but they needed to do that. There's no escape, from sunlight, in a way, back in the day. But now we do have escape from sunlight. And we do enjoy privacy and all that shit. And of course, just going outside for a walk, for an extra walk, just to check the vibe, just to make sure you're comfortable with where you live. I can understand that. But just soaking in sunlight, you will get extra energy. Do you know where to put energy in? Are you sure about that? Do you know how to exercise? I don't think you do, because what Mr. Beast is doing right now is not considered exercise. It's considered forcing yourself to lose weight. That is to mean. All right. So we stopped in this little thing where he's lifting weights, right? If you go to the gym, if you waste so much time, we have to, move dumbbells around. Yes, it's gonna sweat you out a lot of fat. But fat is there so you can rearrange your muscles in a proper positions where you truly need them. It's muscle memory is another superpower that you need to master properly, right? So the actual exercise that you need to do is figure out how to gesticulate information, how to move around pieces. When we're doing computer stuff, there's not a lot of movement going on, right? I can move my hands right now. You're not going to see any movement on the screen. But maybe one day the AI is going to pick up the movement and be able to read what I'm trying to gesticulate, right? With gestures, I could move things around. That would be nice. So that's a way to start exercising, is to make sure that you're as active as possible when you do things. If I just lean back and start watching TikToks, it's not going to make me more active. And so I have to solve this problem, not to just myself. Mr. Beast as well has to solve this problem effectively. But it's probably okay, but he has to accept that it's going to be a downfall because he can't solve this properly. He has to technically just lay down and just what the fuck am I doing with my life? I want to enjoy food, but I don't know how to exercise efficiently. And yes, he did progress in terms of losing fat, but again, he's not making his body more efficient into making better videos, into having more self-esteem. And technically, he's just wasting time now. And yeah, it's not even gonna make you stronger in a way. All right, just because you build more muscles doesn't mean you're more stronger, because you sit next to a computer now, you have all these muscles, and now you're swollen, and you feel uncomfortable. Okay, I have to do cool things now. I have all these muscles, so you're going to be distracted by your own strength alone. It's crazy stuff that you can do to yourself, thinking that it's cool because you now have something, but you also have responsibilities attached to your powers, as we all know. That's what powers come with. Anyways, so yeah, dealing with this, COVID was just training for body odor. Isn't that crazy? So what was this Russian war about? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Ukraine was a very smelly place. It was a pretty poor place as well, and was the odd one out, surrounded by, NATO countries, and then Russia, giant country, was well, you kind of, Ukrainian language still sounds like Russian to me, so fuck it, let's fight with each other, like broskies. Let's see who wins. We're gonna send our suicidal people, and you're gonna send your suicidal people. Let's see who wins. That's what I think is happening right now, and the apocalypse will continue, guys. I hope you're ready. All right? If Mr. Beast's not going to feel the downfall, then everyone else will still feel it. Mr. Beast can just float it out into outer space, which is kind of impossible, but it's a thing. It's a thing I can say, so it might be possible. But then we just lose respect for him either way. Downfall or no downfall, we just lose respect, because he's just detached from reality. Or he can just be greedy and try and hijack YouTube for himself, just like Elon Musk tried to steal Twitter and didn't work very well, because like one person cannot just operate the entire ecosystem. It's just impossible. It just screws everything over. Because if you try to gobble up the entire ecosystem and not naturally rise in power and fall in power, you're not contributing anything, you're just stealing. You're just taking over. And yet Sniper Wolf is the toxic one, you know? Sniper Wolf is stealing content. It's like, we should be bitching about Elon Musk every single day, yet Jax Films is like, oh, actually, guys, I have figured out, we should bitch about Sniper Wolf reacting to content, because that is the worst thing that possibly happened in this platform, that we have the most subscribed woman on this platform, so we're gonna attack her now. It's like, this shit is happening right now. This is the summer, you know, summer event, summer drama, which is obviously gonna, I hope Sniper Wolf doesn't lose anything. I hope just Jax Films just bounces like an idiot. But we'll see, man. We have to pay attention to all these things. It's tough. Regardless, so this episode has barely anything to do with anything. No one is going to get any points besides Mr. Beast. So congratulations. You should feel pretty lucky right now for doing this exercise and to showing off his mistake and his attachment to toxic ideas in a way. But I understand, like, the rest of Americans feel the same way. They think this is how you do things, but it's not. If you want to do exercise, you just have to be more active. When you have work to do, you just be more active. You find ways to move more, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Just move more and stay dormant less. And then that's your exercise, and you won't need to sacrifice time for this. But somehow Mr. Beast got sucked into another bad idea, just like he got sucked into lottery or whatever. As if lottery is a good thing. As if, again, giving money to people is a good thing by default, you know, just because you get such a reaction out of them. But no, you have to provide people passive income. That's the only liberation, and a natural liberation. This is just an extreme experience. You're basically abusing people for content. That's what's going on. PewDiePie was scaring people for content, so Mr. Beast is kind of like shocking people for content. Actually, wait. Making people upset for content. Or just straight up abusing them. I don't know how to put it together just yet, but that is the sentiment. So let's break through all this stuff. Yeah, think about it. Why did COVID naturally made people, you know, suffocate? Why? Why did they just stop wanting to smell things all of a sudden? There's I figured it out. It's just the simplest things that creates the most complicated interactions in the world. Fire, water, earth, and wind, boys. It's just the simplest things. But it gets so deep and so fucking weird really quickly and so twisted. Ugh. If you don't, especially if you don't understand, if you don't spend time trying to understand, if you don't care, you just become the villain. You know, you just become a person that has to be challenged. Because at best you just want to copycat me, or then challenge me and bully me and all that, just for the things that I have. It's just so painful to live in a world where everyone is just maximizing power against each other. But, you know, they will face me now. and they will be questioned in a different way. My main goal is to create a ecosystem where people get rewarded for the time spent, and they see not the view count, but the watch time, and not the subscriber amount, but commitment amount. You know, not the amount of people that clicked a button, but the amount of people that want to stay and actively watch videos. And this way I will start cleaning up YouTube in its entirety and changing the meaning behind it. And a lot of people will not be able to, you know, swallow the changes, but they absolutely are necessary because they literally improve the coherence of a number that you see every day. And I will be able to enable dislikes, but I won't be able to you know, enable harassment. You know, if people want to harass people through dislikes, you'll have to tell me why. You know, when you press the dislike button, you'll have to tell me why. So there's plenty of things that I want to do in the future. I don't want to go into a tangent either. An interesting thing is when a new person discovers Mr. Beast, they want to binge watch most of this content. They just want to deep dive, right? And they would get a whole new perspective of what Mr. Beast actually stands for and how he operates. So I'm a little bit jealous because, you know, I'm a long-term subscriber. The moment he became relevant, of like 10 million subscribers, now he was under my radar, obviously. I think he went like 5 million. The moment he promoted PewDiePie, he was under my radar in the first place, because again, they crossed each other's, you know, paths. And so a new person who discovered this channel, binge watch, get a new perspective. Right now, it's very good to do that, but the moment the downfall happens, it wouldn't work the same way, because downfall just kind of smears the reputation of someone, so everything just looks way worse than it actually is. Before downfall happens, I suggest anyone who has respect for Mr. Beast to just rewatch anything they can, because I can't really rewatch this content. For me, everything is now predictable and stupid. But you know, I'm just saying it's the best time to do that if you want to. So yeah, when it comes to exercise, you have to activate your lifestyle instead of just focusing on just going to the gym. Because going to the gym is literally you rip yourself away from your comfort zone into the gym and hope that you're gonna force yourself through it. And Mr. B says of like, if you spend 3 months developing this habit, then it's a lot easier to do it. And of course, if you create an addiction for yourself, an addiction is just a toxic habit, then of course it's easy to maintain it. Like, it's not a big deal. Again, I appreciate losing fat if it gets in the way, if it makes you less self-esteemed, if it doesn't float your boat to have fat. I completely understand. It's a quick fix, but it's not a fix that will lift off the weight off Mr. Beast's shoulders. And you can see what is going to create the downfall is that he's going to take more and more pressure on himself to, again, improve his life in a kind of quick fix way that doesn't actually work. All right. And again, the other side of hygiene, sleeping, cleaning yourself, cleaning your environment, cleaning your language. People know that. People know these two things quite well. But yet, when it comes to body odor, it just creates a whole nother fucking level of insanity. And I have to live through that. I have to, you know, be very aware of it and understand that people will pick up on body odor even when it's not there, you know, because the body will fear, the body will vibrate against villains that surround you, you know. You have to defend yourself in some way. And it's not like a skunk defense, it's more like a, you know, bee sting of like indicating that, yes, I have fear and you don't know whether I will fight for my life or not. So maybe don't try to challenge me that way. But they will try and circulate like vultures anyways. And that's a really scary thing, right? Yeah, you exercise more, you will you be more of a chill person or not if you exercise more? I don't know. I feel like you're gonna be more chill. I would be more chill. You do need to exercise. But in general, all right, again, dancing, moving, where your muscles like adapt in dynamic ways. So they're fast, reliable, they don't get into your way, they have the memory to do the right things that you need to do every day. The, you know, filled with motivation to wake you up. You don't need a mountain of muscle. It's just, you have to, it's a PSA episode, unfortunately. You got sucked into it. Congratulations. By the way, the Beast Burger just kind of failed miserably. X, it turned into sex because snipers. But honestly, whatever Ariana just said, I'm so grateful for my ex. Does that mean we own X.com now? Does that mean we own Twitter? Now I have to think about it. What does that mean for me to own Twitter? What am I going to use it for? Also, don't have girlfriends that have faces like that. How creepy is that? Holy crap, man. Mr. B's just oblivious. Oblivious, bro. He's just feeding her because, like, she's the water element. And exactly, you know, the one that feeds off Mr. Beast's personality. And it's... I can see the creepiness. I understand exactly what's going on. And he's being exhausted in so many ways now. If that's the girlfriend you choose, like, holy crap. And the Maddie one was pretty much the same personality as well. So, like, what, are you bouncing around against your own predators now? What the fuck? You're not supposed to get attached to predators. Like, PewDiePie got a perfect girlfriend for himself, but a little bit too perfect. So, she sedated PewDiePie into, you know, traveling to Japan, and the retirement doesn't seem like a Disneyland trip by all means, but I will have my own fucking nonsense to deal with because fucking I'm in love with the top tier celebrities out there, and who knows how fucking how torturous that is, and whether they will fight against each other for, you know, attention or whatever. Like, I will have my own problems, don't worry about that. At least it's going to be entertaining. And no one's going to get hurt, I don't think. So that's cool. So yeah, dancing, pretty cool thing you can do. Just vibe with it. There's a lot of cool music to tune into. Like, why not, right? But for me, my personal favorites, obviously, combat. How do I do combat? Well, I just come up with some stupid moves, man. It's like, if you watch a bunch of martial arts things, I go to a next level. I imagine that I'm fucking holding a AK-47 and shooting things. That's my exercise. Or just sending drones and throwing grenades. Physically, 5 grenades a second or whatever. I don't know, bro. I just imagine like I can do anything. Shoot lasers, bro. Shoot fireballs. That's my exercise. When I get angry, I just attack invisible enemies. It's cool, man. When I actually attack invisible enemies, I know when I get into a real life situation where I have to intimidate people, I'll be able to do it, you know, efficiently. Show them that I'm ready to defend myself. And that's all you have to do most of the time, just to scare off the idiots who think they can take advantage of you in some kind of way. Just to remind them that that's not true. Then I reviewed Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake relationship and bonded them, because apparently they're best friends forever. And I agree, it was kind of a weird experience that they have crafted together. They appear in a bunch of skits, and like, this was a completely different celebrity interview thing going on. That was a real thing. But you have two singers here. Technically, I see Justin Timberlake as a singer. I don't know, he's singer actor, something like that. I honestly haven't explored him, as you can tell. 290. It's not. I have no idea the full picture. But it's very satisfying to see a little bit of interconnection going on. And it technically makes me feel like I want to swap these things, but I just can't. I can't do that. All right. Even though it completely fits the bill, but it is what it is. Like, there's an interconnection of, like, again, we covered Chris Tyson drama, and he was interviewed by Anthony. That interconnection happened, kind of. Actually, I didn't connect to them. I probably should, because that was like ridiculously crazy experience, and now Smaj got even more points, but also Mr. Beast got points. Sometimes I like try to keep track of, like, I'm trying to get 5 points, so no matter how much content has been provided to me, I connect based on ideas, the amount of ideas, and not the amount of content or whatever. I want to be excited to see the connection between two people, right? But for now, I'm just going to give a free bond, whatever. I can recalculate sometimes. So that's that, blah, blah, blah. They do some weird things. Then I wanted to do Alyssa Violet now. Probably I can just delete to next episode, whatever. Yeah, Alyssa Violet is something interconnected between these two dudes. It's kind of like fueling them up. Because she just genuinely did, right? She genuinely just became a star of the most popular video that Logan Paul did. And Logan Paul is into, like, diss tracks and, like, hating on things. Hating on culture. Remember that one? Despising Japanese culture. It's like, oh, well, that didn't go very well. You can only distract for so long until you get into trouble. But that's fair. Somehow he turned it back around, but now he's still into scams, and that's kind of cringe. And what, is he gonna go to jail now for all the shit he's doing to people's pockets? But honestly, America is like a scam nation. It's so deeply in debt that it's like, how the fuck is it operating on such high self-esteem? Shouldn't they start to work a little bit harder and pay attention that they can get bankruptcy declared? The entire country can just dive into bankruptcy any moment. It's like, fucking hell. You have to pay attention to that. Because the moment people will start pay attention to that, it's like, oh, okay, we can start declaring slow bankruptcy because people are now educated properly. Potentially, we're delaying the inevitable simply because people are that fucking stupid, and they will just create an insane amount of chaos anyways. So that's another thing that's going on. And Mr. Beast is, again, the greatest influencer on YouTube, is oblivious to a lot of crises going around, which is normal, but we're getting smarter every day, and we have to pay attention to this shit. Then I get my racism triggered by this dude who says like, oh, I'm gonna be nice because I'm on parole or whatever. It's some bullshit. And then there was another scene where he's like surrounded, Jake Paul is surrounded by a bunch of black dudes. I didn't even show it. It's cringe, man. And the funny thing about racism, first of all, Africa is just me away from America somehow. Literally, what Americans did is like, oh, let's borrow a bunch of Africans. And it's not about slavery at all. It has nothing to do with slavery, bro. It has everything to do with this is Sparta and kicking someone into a hole where black people live. You know, they're hiding away from sunlight. But if you get into a hole with them, it's a whole new level. Black people just... And if you don't like me saying black people, then I can say burnt people, all right? If you want to say burnt people, I'm all for it, all right? You have to tell me what's the replacement strategy here. But yeah, I don't care about being offensive or not being offensive. That just doesn't cut it for me, all right? It doesn't mean that I want to get into fights with people. I just want to express my opinion and move on with my life. And if I cannot do that, I will get into fights with people. But you will not like those fights. Like, you will not fucking like that. You think you will, but you have no idea what you're talking about. Because behind me, I call myself Satan. Behind me is the devil. All right? So if you think there's global warming happening right now and there was COVID and I have figured out what COVID is, I can just unleash next level of apocalypse and amplify it by 2 times. You know, just as the devil, like, oh, hey, devil, can you just amplify the heat a little bit more than usual? Oh, thank you very much. You know, that sort of fight we're going to have. But right now, I'm in good self-esteem. I feel happy about life, and I don't have to threaten people with, you know, the fact that I'm still struggling to, like, create a life around myself. I'm still, like, fucking swimming around in bullshit, trying to survive. You know, as the greatest influence of all time supposed to be in the future, I'm still just struggling to survive. But that's fine, because now I live a very, very comfortable life without a need of money, without a need of friends. Like, I somehow, internet alone, I just hook myself into this matrix and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm alive now. I eat zeros and ones, man. But honestly, like, I became more efficient. I care about, you know, fruits, vegetables, more, like, all that stuff. Like, drinking more milk mixed with water, not just plain water or plain milk. I add flavor to this shit. Like, I had to improve my life so significantly. It's crazy, bro. And when it comes to showers, again, whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel like I can have a shower and I need to remove fire damage, this is how I call it, fire damage. Your body is in such a damage control, it's just setting itself on fire, and you just mitigate it by splashing yourself. Again, you will feel when you need to take a shower. You don't have to force it. If you feel like uncomfortable, you're scratching yourself or whatever, like, if there's shit all over your body, you need to apply, you know, soapy water, wash it away, move on with your life. And this last 2 minutes, so you don't think about it, the moment you feel uncomfortable, you can solve this problem in like 2 minutes. All right? I don't care about your gender, bro. I don't care. Bro, sis, or a cat. 2 minutes, bro. Don't stress it too much. There's more to explore, right? Like this virgin dude being harassed, basically. No. with Jake Paul and Logan Paul, what I recommend to do is to only watch the most popular videos, because this is like socially acceptable videos that people didn't want to click away for various reasons. Like, we can actually understand what's socially acceptable based on how much people want to participate in that sort of content. So just watch the most popular videos. These people need to be put on a filter. Clearly, they're toxic, but that's the whole point. All right, it's just kind of toxic narcissism, but you can understand where they're coming from. They're just kind of maximizing their efforts in a stupid way. But you know, you can appreciate it. They are bullies, and I literally had these type of personalities dominate me in the orphanage. For half a year, I had to spend in an orphanage, and literally these bullies showed up immediately and started fucking tossing me around in a way, but not in a violent way. And just, it's still playful. We still didn't understand what the fuck we're doing with each other. So, you know, it's understandable. I try to, you know, play it safe and cool. And it worked out in the end. I'm sure there's no hard feelings, because we all feel like we're humans and we can turn everything into positive. We don't have to, you know, worry about it too much. So even these bullies of the internet, you can turn them back into positive experience. And it's like a very interesting craft that I did with this, you know, Ring of Fire, because it's made out of all these different kinds of narcissists. It's like different flavor of narcissism, really? What do you mean? There's only 2 flavors. Apparently there's 2 flavors multiplied by 4 surrounding the greatest narcissist of all time. Like, this is fascinating to me. So it's definitely worthy 25 episodes. In fact, it's 26 episodes now because of Sniper Wolf becoming the council member purple. All right? That's what we got going on. Lastly, I kind of covered some shit here, but and talked about some women things, but whatever. Relationship things. We're gonna dive in more into that separately. It has nothing to do with anything. But this is like unacceptable for actors, for comedians to just sit down and fucking read Reddit stuff or just read things in general. You can reenact, like, just move around, dress up. You have all these props and all these things to play with, and yet you fucking sit around like old dudes who have lost all integrity, lost all interest, making content worse than I can do. I can do the same thing, bro. That's the thing that they don't understand is, like, the competition is fierce and you have to keep up the quality of your content, especially if you have so many people working in the team. You have to squeeze as small, as tight videos as possible so it's actually consumable by a lot of people, because you can do it. You can spice up the content with a lot of stuff happening around. You don't need to worry about sitting down. If you find a cool Reddit story, just reenact it. Whatever, right? There's absolutely no need for this shit. And somehow they didn't figure out. There's all these fucking dudes shitting around and doing nothing in particular. It's so sad, I'm not gonna lie. It's cool to have content. It's sad that it's not appropriate. So in a way, Mr. Beast actually wins that one. That one I'll give to Mr. Beast. In fact, I'll just burn Smosh by default and feed Mr. Beast that way. But I'll burn 2 times because I already kind of did. And that's it. That's the end of the episode, the whole story. It's, yes. Now the Beast will be fed by the mistakes. I will try to not, like, use my body thing. I mean, the combat points. That's the combat points that I generate. I will only use it against Mr. Beast if I can mock him successfully. So right now he will lose 27 points. Eventually I will apply that. And once mockery is removed, he can have his shield back. Alright? That's what I'm hiding. Mr. Tate. Anyways, so... yeah, if people do some kind of mistakes and piss me off, and these guys, they're toxic, and probably even more toxic than Mr. Beast, and just because Mr. Beast is going to have a downfall doesn't mean that it's going to be that bad, you know. But he could elevate these people as well, or I could. I don't know. Everyone can improve, and you can see that clearly. And a downfall is just a natural thing for you to just relax and transition into enjoying your other parts of your life, not just trying to make the best videos forever and ever, as if that's what your life is supposed to be about, and holding on to the crown, because it's going to be a burden eventually. It doesn't work the same way year after year. The notoriety fades away, people resent you eventually. It's not going to work out forever, and I understand that myself, but hey, I'm going to be a toxic little shit, and I will try fucking all kinds of shit, alright? I will lose my mind if I get as much notoriety as Mr. Beast, but it is what it is. Someone else will have to step in and, you know, teach me a lesson. So, send Mr. Beast my regards if you able to send him a message somehow. Let him know how this fucking game works. You don't have to let him know that I figured it out, and I'm keep figuring things out. And please don't be scared. Like, when you don't be scared of knowledge, all right? Be scared of science. Be scared of nerds, gamers, you know, sexual predators. Now that's stuff to be scared of. And, well, pickup artist and narcissist. Blatant narcissist that just, like, bother you all the time. That's the stuff you should be scared of. But knowledge and virtues and morality, I don't think you should be scared of that. So that was the PSA about body and how and why you should take care of it. Just apply water to fire damage. Keep social distancing from people with a lot of energy or people on fire themselves, because they could feel uncomfortable as well, and they could have a lot of ideas, and they could have a lot of extra energy that they would want to waste or challenge someone else with. So at summertime, you have to be vigilant and understand that people are fucking crazy in this time of year. People are not crazy when it comes to winter season, but somehow, you know, we got duped into thinking that, oh, diseases happen at winter season. The opposite happens at winter season. You get a lot of fresh air. You got a lot of clean information of, like, who's actually doing the right thing, who has essential jobs to do. You get a lot of useful information that way at winter. And you get YouTube Rewind, which you have to keep in touch with, because I'm bringing that shit back in a very high quality format, hopefully. Hopefully it works out, because a lot of pressure is on me, man. It's just all on me to deliver all these things and all this knowledge that I just have to vomit out as fast as possible, and sometimes filter out. This video took me 3 attempts to make, but I'm proud of it, and see you guys in the episode number 5.